Good morning. It's trying to get my video set up here. Gonna try something different today. I just so I could drink my coffee. I'm down to 1 cup of coffee now. It's been hard getting off of it. I mean, I can totally sympathize with people who are, smokers or addicted to caffeine. Oh my God. I've been drinking coffee for my whole life and it's affecting my gut. It's causing more symptoms with my gut. So I'm weaning off of it right now. So I've just been down to 1 cup, which is not very much for me. Um, I was drinking 5, 6 cups a day, and I knew it was a bad habit. It's just something that, made me, it was a habit. I guess you could just call it that, habit. Um, I just watched an excellent, um, Dodgy Kamlesh Patel, the Heartfulness Guide president, whatever you want to call him. Um, he just came out with a little spiel about the coronavirus and basically talked about what I like about him is he's what I was kind of taken aback by it because it's funny how you have an expectation for something and you think, oh, he's going to come out with some really groundbreaking information and this is going to be like, wow, really deep and oh, coronavirus is, what this means and all the implications. And basically all he said was start using a neti pot, which is something I've used a lot, which is the saline you pour in your nose. I used a neti pot for many years, actually until I became carnivore. Once I became carnivore, I didn't need to use it anymore because I don't have allergies and stuff. I have just very slight allergies now that I'm carnivore. That was interesting. And he was talking about just, super simple stuff. And it was kind of a shock, not a shock, but I was like expecting some heavy information. But there was something very refreshing about it. And let me get to that later, like what I think that means, so the importance of that. And one thing I love about it's kind of pointing me back to what I really love about heartfulness is the simplicity of it. I've always been struck by it, the simplicity of it. And people take it to different levels. Everybody has a different place they need to be with it. With things like this, some people will take it to the umpteenth, you know, um, the level of worship, where they're just almost idol worshiping people and things. I don't like that. I don't agree with that. But that's their thing, that turns me off. It's kind of like these hardcore born again Christians who just, it's just they just approach a level of absurdity with it. Um, love and God and all that is simple, and Babaji said that. And the way to connect to God is simple, and that's the power of Samahaj Marg. Is it is simple. I love it. Um, Sometimes I'll have my doubts about it just because I'm weak and I'm still learning and I'm still experiencing. But I love the simplicity and um, that it just makes sense to me. So anyway, that was just the first thing I was going to talk about was his little talk, and then we did a little meditation after, which was really amazing. It's always amazing. The relaxation part of the meditation was really profound to me. I really felt the relaxation in my legs and my body, and that was nice. It's something I hadn't done in a really long time, probably since I first learned. I've done the guided ones with him before, the live broadcast before, but not very many. It always seems like I'm kind of working or something on those days. Um, but I really felt like the relaxation in my body. And then when I did um, started the meditating on your heart part, I didn't even think about the transmission, and then I just felt the transmission kind of hit me, and it was awesome. It was like, wow, that really is. I mean, because there's always that doubting part of your mind that says, oh, it's not real. You're just imagining things. But man, the thing about this meditation is I definitely feel the transmission. And that's something that now there's days and I don't. There's days when I don't feel anything, but I feel that transmission a lot and very strongly sometimes, especially before I go to work when I meditate in my car. And I think sometimes with the shorter meditations, maybe you feel the transmission stronger because it's more compacted. I don't know. That's just a theory. It might be totally wrong. Well, I wanted to talk about Trump did a press briefing yesterday, and he brought out all of the security um, officials, so all the Department of Defense, and I don't know all their the National Security Advisor, and all the admirals and generals, the head general for the country, and all that. And they were saying how they were going to go after drug traffickers. And Trump had said these drug traffickers are taking advantage of the coronavirus and they're bringing in lots of drugs. Um, wow. I mean, that's huge, right? Because I don't believe that. I believe that they are going after the children. They're going to get rescue children that are being trafficked, and they are going to take out these drug cartels. But the drug cartels are making most of their money off of not just drugs, but off of the human trafficking, and that's what's going to be. They're going to put a stop to that. And somebody was saying how the might have been Joe M. He's a big or big Twitter guy. He seems to have a lot of really good information. He was saying that I think it was him. He was saying that the the drug traffickers are the military arm of the cabal. So that's interesting. And my initial reaction when I saw those generals come out and all that, I was like, wait a second, this is weird, right? I mean, we're supposedly, got this corona thing going on, and then they come out and say how they're going to go after these cartels. And so I think that finally they're going to break that leg off the table. The deep state, they're using different legs to stand on, and the drug cartels provide a lot of income. And like I said, they're the military part of the MS-13 and all that. They're like soldiers in this evil army. And the financial institution is one of the legs. I think they have deep projects. I think they have underground bases, things like that. Now, of course, all this sounds so conspiratorial, but the reality is there's lots of information out there if you want to research it for yourselves. I try not to get too wrapped up in all that, but I do believe that there's a lot of stuff going on we don't know about. I mean, a tremendous amount. And let me just finish with this part of it anyway. The amount of information we will get out of this, we're not going to know everything. They might just tell us, oh, we got, we busted these drug cartels, but they're not going to tell us about the kids necessarily. I don't think they will, because I think it's too much of a shock to the average person. Everybody's already feeling very traumatized right now, and I think if they go too far with release of information, it's going to be it's one of those things we might find out about later. Maybe some of these trafficking victims will write books or do YouTube channels or start doing social media and telling about their heroin experience and all this. And the people who, um, you can get little bites of it instead of being exposed to the horror. I think it's kind of like, watching a movie about, the Jews in World War II and the concentration camps and things like that. I mean, it's shocking to your sensibilities. It's not something that everybody needs to be exposed to, and we certainly don't need to have children and a lot of more tender-hearted people don't need to be exposed to this. It's something that's going to be cleaned up without, a whole lot of exposure, plus to protect the victims, the people who have been trafficked. Um, that's really important. And I was thinking about today, like, it kind of hit me when I first started my meditation this morning, is we are the reporters now. I hope we all realize that. We are the reporters. We have to report. And not just, I mean, I'm not talking about going out and getting video and things like that. I'm talking about reporting our experience, reporting to each other. We're creating connections and extending our community by doing this. And my channel, I don't even honestly, I like my channel being small. I have a couple people that listen, and maybe a few every once in a while will trickle in. I think I have 50 viewers now, or 50 subscriptions. I don't think I never get 50 views on a video, and I like it like that. But for me, this is kind of extending my community. This is, Dodgy talked about the social distancing doesn't mean, it means a common sense approach. Quit shaking hands, quit hugging and kissing, that kind of thing. He's talking about doing namaste and all that. But that doesn't mean we don't connect with people. And he did a very nice little visualization about connecting to our loved ones in our heart. And he said, imagine, being in your heart area, and then your loved one sitting in front of you, and then you're, sending them that love. And that's transmission. He's basically teaching us to become transmitters now. See, this is a subtle thing, but this is where it's all headed, right? I mean, we're not supposed to be just sitting in our basement doing meditation. We're supposed to be transmitting also. And as we become more conscious, I mean, we'll figure it out on our own. I already figured that out a long time ago. But it's nice to hear him say that, because what it's doing, it's validating your experience. So you'll have experiences and you might start doubting yourself. But if you tune in to what these guides are saying and what they're trying to teach us, they're confirming what we already figured out on our own, right? We're self-reporting. We're reporting our experience, and we're going through the doubt and confusion that might come along with that, and then we're getting clarification. And what that does is it's like a foundation for us, right? It's like concrete. When you first pour it, it's wet. You don't go run around on the concrete. The concrete has to have time to set. And when we have a new experience, it's like a new layer of concrete being poured out. We got to give it time to cure and time to harden and become a firm foundation that we can go out and build a house on, or build a shed on, or build our life on. And that's what I see with Sahaj Marg. It's a way of it's giving you the ability to self-report, to become a reporter. You look at the mainstream media and these shills, they're embarrassing. It's an embarrassment to actual news people. And I actually am embarrassed for them. I feel bad for them, because they're playing this very nefarious role, and they're probably not bad people. They just are caught up in their they're caught up in their job, and they think that they're, by asking these divisive questions and spreading fear, that they're doing something positive. And because they're that deluded in their mind, right? They've lost their path. And so the self-reporting is going to become very important. And I guess this goes along with self-confidence, developing self-confidence. I've been having an experience my whole life where I would be in a state of doubt about things. And I would just be like, oh, is this the right way, or is this the right way? And I would just question myself to the point of just, driving myself crazy with these doubts. And but what I found recently is like yesterday I was having doubts. I was having doubts about, the what's going on, and there's so much information. I just believe there's so much fake information. We're not being told so many things. And so I was really doubting myself and doubting the information, and I was doubting my practice, and I was doubting my, is Sahaj Marg really for me? I'm not really feeling like I fit in. There's just these people that are just so worshipful or dodgy, and and I just am not there. And I mean, I totally respect him and love him. I do. I love him. I think he's amazing. But I just don't have that mastered, the same kind of level of whatever. And so I was doubting myself with that and things like that. And I just went inside instead of projecting outside. I just prayed to God. I said, God, please show me, just help me. I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling like you know, like I'm not, my self-confidence is low. And I immediately, I look on my YouTube and a video popped up, and it was Mark Taylor, and he was talking with this lady, and they were talking about, Mark Taylor was talking about the significance of all this stuff. And this is even before the press briefing. And it was like, wow, I needed that. It was like a little booster shot. And I've been getting those a lot. I've been getting a lot of videos that are just coming through just that just are validating everything I've been thinking, everything I've been saying, giving me lots of validation. And so that's a powerful thing. If you can, this is where surrender comes in. Surrender is the key, and it's the cornerstone to this path, because you can only go so far before you have to surrender. There has to be a point where you surrender. Allison Coe, she's a hypnosis person. She was talking about how her clients were telling her that 2020 was going to be a really rough year, and a lot of stuff was going to happen. And this was before all the coronavirus and everything. But they were saying 2020 would be a year like no other. At the beginning of 2020 would look nothing like the end of 2020. And of course, now we can see how true that is. And but she was saying that her clients were saying that this idea of just relaxing and surrendering. And then there was another video I watched. This guy, he a hypnotist. He does hypnotherapy also, but he got started in it more of he was doing more counseling type stuff. And but he started using hypnotherapy and finding it was healing people. And and he was saying that in his hypnotherapy sessions, he teaches the people when they go back to experience an injury or something that caused them pain or whatever, instead of fighting against it, he said that the stress of fighting against it is what causes the problems. And that's what causes the traumas. It's kind of like, you always hear about these people that are drunk drivers. They never get injured, right? They'll get in a car wreck and kill, half a dozen people, but yet they come out of it unscathed. Well, why is that? Because they're drunk and they're totally relaxed. They have no idea what they're doing. And if we can learn to relax, and that's the power of meditation and the power of doing this over and over, this repetitive going inward, going inward, going inward, is we start to become able to relax, and we start to be able to let that energy just do what it needs to do. And there's a lot of trust involved with that. And that's kind of where we're at right now, is we're at this point where we can keep fighting against everything, or we can just relax and let God's energy, let God's power take over and clear the field. And that's what I believe is happening. I think that, we can project out, good, positive intentions and all that. But at the end of the day, God's energy has to flow through us. We're the vehicle for that to come through, and through our heart, and let our heart be um, the let it be the determining factor in all this, instead of our mind. And I was listening to another lady, and she was talking about heart math, which they study the heart and the heart energy field and stuff, and they were saying like the heart energy field is like 60 times bigger than the mental energy field. And it goes back to what I was talking about in my other video about heart mind and developing this level of heart mind. And so, like I said, a lot of confirmations on things that I've been thinking, a lot of information being validated, and so it's kind of makes me feel good. It is a time where we are going to have our insecurities pushed in front of us, and but we always, we always fall back to God. We always fall back to our heart, and that will never lead us astray, and it'll keep us on the right track. All right. Hope you have a good day.